Being a professional content creator requires a knowledge of the tools that are on the market, creativity and being more efficient and productive. You have to know how to use the programs and the gear, and understand their strengths and weakness, whether they work in certain situations and how to use them to translate your vision into the actual product. In this video I want to share my favorite, most used apps that I use for productivity, creativity and relaxing afterwards. And I will tell you why I made a certain choices, and in some cases I will recommend some alternatives. I have to say that I'm using Term app in a very freely way. When it comes to organizing my life, I am some sort of freak. I want to be as simple as possible and efficient at the same time. I want everything to be put in folders that I can find easily, and ideally be available from every device that I use. I tried almost every task manager on the market, but when I started using Notion, everything started getting right. I put everything here, from my daily tasks to my trips and every work that I have to do. I use this template created by Thomas Frank, for which I will leave link down below. Thomas did his absolutely best work when it comes to create this workspace. It's very efficient and simple at the same time. Of course, I have to modify it to suit better for my needs. For example, I need information about for which client I will do the job, place and type of work. So I added these conditions. But what I love about the Notion is the fact that they have released the Notion calendar, which is linked to my task manager. What this means for me? Whatever I put on my task list, it will appear in my calendar, which made me say bye-bye to Apple Calendar. Also, the ability to custom, link databases and use third-party plugins gives you uncountable opportunities to make the program works for you. Of course, this road has spikes. The learning curve and overall complexity can overwhelm some types of people. When you have unlimited options, it's really hard to choose which one is the best. I mean, you have hundreds of templates from the Notion HQ itself, but there is also the community that creates them. You have to know for what you are looking for. If you want simple solution, focus mainly on the tasks themselves, I can highly recommend Asana. Its UI is much more user-friendly for most of the people, and it also has really nice mobile app. After each work, every photo and video have to be edited. Let's focus on this subject. For my photo editing, I use Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. Lightroom is mostly used for general, global editing, and times when I have to edit a lot of images in short period of time, due to its capability to copy and paste edit with simple shortcut that I even map to buttons on my mouse. On the other side, Photoshop is great when the particular image needs more work. Then I click Edit in Photoshop to load the exact image straight from my Lightroom catalog. Here I do all my dodge and burr, retouch, etc. When I finish my edit, I can simply close Photoshop and the image will return to the Lightroom. The combination of both of these programs lets me edit much quicker, especially when I use my presets, or even more when I use my own DCP profile. The downside for these programs, just like all of current Adobe products, you can only purchase them in the subscription model. But if you are looking for an alternative, I can highly recommend Capture One Pro. I still use it when I need to work using tethering function, and I think the implemented color engine is much better compared to what Adobe offers. Even more, if you don't need the latest function, you can still buy a perpetual license for it. When it comes to my NLE choice, I use almost every one of the big three video editors. Premiere Pro is great when I know the project will include a lot of VFX, due to its capability to work simultaneously with After Effects and other Adobe products. When I do a graphic in Photoshop or Illustrator, I can simply drag the file into the timeline, and when I make some changes, it will instantly update itself. The biggest downside is the fact the Lumetri tab is not enough for me when it comes to color grading. On the other hand, DaVinci Resolve is the king of color grading. It has the best tools for it. I can tell you how much I enjoy color grading my films here. When I know the color will be a big part of the story that I want to tell, I will edit, color grade and Resolve. The big plus compared to Adobe is the fact that you can still buy a perpetual license for it, or if you're buying a BlackMagic camera, you are getting it for free. The thing that bothers me the most is not having the ability to move my windows freely, and sometimes that disturbs me. Final Cut Pro is great when the time is priority. The magnetic timeline makes my editing much faster, and because it is optimized for the latest Apple Silicon chips, the rendering times are crazy short and can be done in the background. Huge bummer for me is like the Premiere Pro, the color grading tools are very limited for me. If you ever wondered which software I use for the particular video, you can read it in the description, where I always put the info about it. There are two types of people. First one who makes backups and second who make them. In my case, I have to store at least 2 or 3 copies of each file. I usually store 3 types of files: website JPEG, full res JPEG and DNG with XMP file baked into it. But what I struggled the most was having the same folder structure and being sure that every one of them have the same files in it. For syncing my files, I use an open source program called Free File Sync. This program guarantees that when I use sync or mirror option, every file is safely backed up to every drive and cloud storage that I use. But what I usually do is leave the computer and program for a while and go and make some coffee, or use this time for relax. So far I haven't had any problems with missing or corrupted files, which is a great statement for the program. The biggest downside of the program is its interface. Let's say it is not the best or model looking program in the world. You have to spend some time to learn how to use it properly. But when you do, the program will return with probably the best free backup solution that is on the market. Sometimes I deal with a huge amount of files. I need to sort them, change the names of them, add metadata, but it can be frustrating when I have to wait to even load a preview of each file. For this task I use Adobe Bridge. This program is much faster when it comes to loading files previews, rating them and adding metadata. Why it is important for me? I said before, sometimes I deal with a huge amount of files. If every file preview loads for 5 seconds and I have to look around 1000 photos to look at, it will equal 5000 seconds, which is around 1.5 hours of just loading the previews. If I can speed up this process and spend this time on the actual work or even export my file, then it's totally worth it for me. I can use this spare time on something else like writing scripts, editing videos. While we are on the topic of hobbies, let's focus more on the app that I use in my free time. The first and most important is Apple Music. Music is a very important part of life. It can boost our moods during hard days. Or in my case, it helps me focus on the work. The sound quality is very important to me. When I listen to a particular artist, I want to hear all the nuances from the track. This service offers me lossless sound quality that I use all the time. At home, I use high-res lossless quality to have even better sound quality. But what about the music library? I have found every artist that I want to listen to. Compared to Spotify, which costs very similar money, Apple Music offers me much better sound quality. Both programs have same music library and works really nicely even on my non-Apple device. It can be shocking for some of you. Before I started being a professional content creator, I used to be a huge fan of gaming, and it stays pretty much the same to this day. As my gaming service, I use PS Plus in Premium Standard, which is not only offers me ability to play online, but also access to games from PS1 to PS3 era. Here I can give you a quick tip. If you want to have a lower reaction time in concert photography, playing online video games is a great way to improve it. While you are aiming at the enemy, you use pretty much the same parts of your brain as you would use when you are aiming with the telephoto lens during show. Now you can say to your family, I'm not playing video games, I am exercising for my work. Looking for the perfect solution is not easy task, but when you do, you will not only feel satisfied, but also your work will be much better organized and you will not stress about anything. Nowadays I can say, the apps that I use let me focus fully on my work and delivering great work to my clients. Do you have your favorite apps? How do they help in your life? The comment section is for you.